Let's go to 5 headlines. The DNC was last night. I said yesterday that I'd rather stick my face in a blender than watch it. But fortunately, my blender wasn't working. Well, actually, I got the blender working last night, so I was able to do that instead. Blended the old face. You can't tell the difference, though, due to the fact that I'm hideous. But anyway, I didn't watch the DNC. I don't care about it. Though there are 2 clips from the proceedings that I saw that maybe are worth playing and responding to. We'll save the second one, the most important one, for the last on the list on the 5 headlines. But first one, we'll play this. This is Michelle Obama speaking at the DNC, and here's what she had to say.
And here at home, as George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and a never-ending list of innocent people of color continue to be murdered, stating the simple fact that a Black Life Matters is still met with derision from the nation's highest office. Because whenever we look to this White House for some leadership or consolation or any semblance of steadiness, what we get instead is chaos, division, and a total and utter lack of empathy. Empathy. That's something I've been thinking a lot about lately.
Now, I actually agree with her that the White House hasn't done nearly enough to address the chaos, as I was just talking about, but I'm quite sure that she would not like my idea for addressing the chaos. I agree there's too much chaos. More needs to be done, but I don't think that she'd be in favor of sending in the military, for example, which is what should be done. As for the rest of it, she says that Black people continue to be murdered. I agree with that also. And I agree with a lot of this. She's absolutely right. Black people are murdered every day. They are murdered at a far more than any other group. They are at a much higher risk of being victims, both of murder and other violent crimes. All of that is true. But the thing that Michelle Obama doesn't mention, and that no other Democrat will ever mention, is that the vast, vast, overwhelming majority of Black people who are murdered by members of their own race. That's the reality. We can point this out all we want, and they'll ignore it. I realize that. Even so, it must be continually pointed out. We can't tire of meeting these false narratives, because if we do, then there's no hope. Then the narrative wins, and that's the end of it. Because the people on the left who claim to be concerned about Black victims, as we discovered, are really only concerned about a highly specific and limited little sliver of the overall victim category. And that's the case for Michelle Obama. But let's go to number 2, to the opposite of Michelle Obama. Here's someone who really is concerned with Black life, all Black life, Kim Klacik, congressional nominee in Baltimore. She put out an ad yesterday that I think is really spectacular, and it gives a blueprint. Okay, the point here is not just that it's a great ad, which it is, but this is, other Republicans need to look at this, see it as a blueprint. This is how to deal with these sorts of issues. Watch.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This is the reality for Black people every single day. Crumbling infrastructure, abandoned homes, poverty, and crime. Baltimore has been run by the Democrat Party for 53 years. What is the result of their decades of leadership? Baltimore is one of the top 5 most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baltimore is 10 times the US average. The Baltimore poverty rate is over 20%. Homicide, drug, and alcohol deaths are skyrocketing in our city. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? I do. The vast majority of crime in Baltimore is perpetrated against Black people, who make up 60% of the population. So why don't we care about our communities? The Democrat Party have betrayed the Black people of Baltimore. If the politicians walked the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affects us. But they don't want to see it. They don't want you to see this.
Yeah, as I said, great ad. And this is the proof is in the pudding. And this is sort of a showing the pudding type of situation. because the reality is, as has been pointed out many times, but it's fine to point it out. That can only go so far. Sometimes you have to show instead of tell, and that's what she's doing here. These cities that have been run by Democrats for decades are in shambles. And when I say shambles, it's like literally, you look at those images, and what you're seeing there, someone who's lived around Baltimore. I lived in the Baltimore area myself for many years. I didn't live in the inner city, but I've been in the city many times. I've driven through it. And I can tell you with my own eyes that what you saw there is not even the worst parts of Baltimore. And I assume because in the very, very worst parts, it wouldn't be smart for her to, walk around. It wouldn't be safe. So that's like a few steps up from the worst parts of Baltimore that you saw right there. And it's really, really bad, to put it very mildly. And that's a simple reality. Baltimore's one example. You see other examples all across the country. Chicago, Detroit, even New York now and it's getting worse there. So this is, all you have to do is show it. That this is what happens with Democrat policies. Now let's go, all right, a lot of great transitions here, okay? It's all flowing very smoothly. Speaking of bad Democrat policies, we go to Andrew Cuomo, who directly responsible for the deaths of thousands of elderly people, intentionally exposed them to the virus by sending infected patients into nursing homes. That Andrew Cuomo, just to be specific, is writing a book about his response to the coronavirus, okay? The gumption of this guy. The book is called American Crisis. Let me pull up the press release. It says, Crown, an imprint of Random House Publishing, announced today that it will publish American Crisis by Andrew Cuomo on October 13th, 2020, a revealing behind-the-scenes account of his experience leading New York through the COVID-19 epidemic. American Crisis is an important chronicle of this unprecedented moment in history, an urgent assessment of the factors that have and continue to impede our national response to a devastating health and economic catastrophe. A couple of questions come up right away. First of all, how do you have time to write a book right now? You're currently governor. This is usually a thing you do after you've left office, after Cuomo has mercifully been voted out, which, the people of New York, I'm not sure if they're smart enough to actually vote him out, but because he's still relatively popular there, even though he doesn't deserve to be. But after you leave, you write the book. Reflect. He's writing it while he's talking about how he's handling the pandemic. He's in the middle of all of this, but he's got time to write a book. And then, of course, on top of all that, it's the fact that he, again, is directly responsible for killing thousands of elderly people. I wonder if that's going to get a chapter in the book. That's the chapter I would like to read. And that's the story. That's the story that I would like to hear about. The chapter on when he murdered, I don't know if it'll be, chapter 5, when I murdered a bunch of elderly people. I don't know how he's going to phrase it, but that's the real story from this that we all need to hear about. Number 4, yesterday, President Trump announced there'd be a huge pardon of a really important person. So he made this announcement yesterday. He said someone really important is going to be pardoned. Lots of people were speculating, very excited. Who's it going to be? Will it be Joe Exotic? There was that speculation on the internet. Or, it could have been someone who actually deserved to be pardoned because Joe Exotic does not deserve to be. And then today, the big announcement was made about who's getting the pardon. And here is Donald Trump announcing it.
I wanted to just add something because this was brought up a week ago, and I was so surprised that it was never done before. Because later today, I will be signing a full and complete pardon for Susan B. Anthony. She was never pardoned. Did you know that? She was never pardoned. What took so long? And you know that she got a pardon for a lot of other women, and she didn't put her name on the list. So she was never pardoned. For voting. And we're for voting. That's right. That's right. She was guilty for voting. And we are going to be signing a full and complete pardon. That's fabulous. And I think that's really fantastic, right? She deserves it.
That's great, I got to tell you, because it's good that he really came through. Because the thing is, you wouldn't want to announce and make a big deal out of the fact that you're pardoning someone especially when there are a lot of people out there who really do, currently living and are maybe in jail or something, and really do need the pardon. So you wouldn't want to announce that and then do, for example, some really silly, pointless, symbolic pardon of someone who's already dead. You wouldn't want to do that. So I'm glad that he didn't do that in this case. Susan B. Anthony she's been in prison for far too long for this crime. And so I'm glad that she'll finally be free and she can, return to her family and try to reclaim some kind of life. So I say congrats to Mrs. Anthony on that, and good luck. Good luck restarting your life again. And I just think this is great. Just really, really long overdue. All right. Number 5, finally, now we get to what really matters. Okay, the only important subject of this show, to be honest with you, and certainly the most notable event of the DNC convention last night, which is not a high bar to clear, but there you have it. This happened apparently towards the end, or at the very end maybe, to wrap things up at the end of the convention. Fortunately then for the DNC, most people had fallen asleep by the time that this happened.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. Think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what that was or why. What, why, how. Well, I can figure out the how, but the what and why is really. The Democrat Party is seen as the party that has people working for it who know how to connect with the youth of today. And they really should have involved some of those people in planning their convention. Because I don't know who that's supposed to appeal to. I suppose it appealed to the dude in the video, Billy Porter, who's an actor or something. I'm not really sure what he does. I know that he wears dresses to the Oscars. That's sort of his main thing. That's what he does for a living. And then he might have a couple side gigs as well. But when I see that, I tell you what, when I see that, it brings to mind something I've been thinking for a while, which is that liberals are kind of, and this is going to sound weird, but liberals are kind of going the way of Christian rock, Christian movies, Christian entertainment. I don't mean that it's the same sort of content, okay? What you just saw there, you probably wouldn't see that in a Christian music video, but they're making the same mistake that Christian entertainment industry has made, in that what they're doing is they're starting to think that a piece of entertainment is good as long as it has the right message. The Christian entertainment industry has been doing this forever. They put out absolutely atrocious material, but horrible production quality. If it's a movie, horrible script, terrible acting, a lot of really bad music, okay? But they say, well, it's fine, it's good because it gets the message across. And there's an audience out there for it. It's not as big of an audience as what they could get, but there's a certain audience that all they care about is if it has the Christian message, I like it. Even if it's terrible quality, I still like it. So, but for a long time, what made liberal messaging so effective, in entertainment anyway, is that they actually prioritized artistic quality and entertainment value over the message. They still had the message. They would get the message in there more subtly. But the vehicle for it was a lot sturdier because they were actually paying attention to creating a sturdy vehicle. Recently, though, it seems like they're going the other way. They're putting out movies, songs, stuff like this that's cringy and bad and weird and not good, but it has a message, and so we're supposed to like it. So I think they're making a very similar kind of mistake, which, I guess if you're not a liberal, it's good to see them tripping up in this way. Good to have some company. It's good that conservatives aren't the only ones making this mistake, finally. Let's go. In fact, actually, I was going to go to the daily cancellation, but before we do, there's one other thing, a bonus story. We'll go to number 6 here. I just wanted to play this for you because I just saw it right before we started shooting here. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is planning some sort of movement to help the post office because for some reason we have to prop up the post office. I don't know why. No one is out there trying to figure out a way to keep companies that sell record players afloat. Okay, no one's worried. Radio Shack went under because all they did was sell Walkmans and boom boxes. Nobody was worried about keeping them open. But for some reason, we got to make sure that we keep the post office. The reason why the post office is suffering is that a lot of people aren't using it anymore because we have more efficient and effective ways of communicating. But now all of a sudden the left has decided that we got to keep them going. And this is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's idea for keeping the post office alive. Listen.
I have been thinking about ways to help you help the post office. And I think I've got an idea, and I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. So one of the best ways to support the post office is to buy stamps. What do you all think? Would you guys be down and excited if I set up a national progressive pen pal program? Do all the work of connecting you to somebody else. We would offer maybe some conversation prompts or postcard prompts and even like a printable postcard format. You just send it out. Would you guys be down? Do you like that idea?
A national progressive pen pal program. This is what I'm talking about. Speaking of not being able to connect with the youth, this is supposed to be her thing. AOC, this is what she's supposed to do. And this is what she comes up with, a national progressive pen pal program. It's like an idea that like my aunt would come up with, right? It's like, oh, your grandmother. Let's have a pen pal program. But I'm actually really annoyed at Amanda Prestigiacomo at the Daily Wire, another writer at the Daily Wire, because she had an angle on this that I wish I had thought of, and it really annoys me. But she tweeted, "Is this good for the environment?" Which is a really, really good basic point here. But how does this help? How does the post office help the environment? Where you could, okay, you want to send a letter to someone, you can just email it, and get it there at the speed of light. But instead we want to have a vehicle with fossil fuels, driving it to the post office, and you put it on a plane depending on where you're mailing it to. Think of all the fuel and all the CO2 and how many polar bears we're killing. But that's okay. I mean, we got 11 years. We're all gonna be dead in 11 years. And AOC wants to speed up the process so that we can be pen pals, really? All right. Great idea there. Let's go to our daily cancellation. Before we do, I want to tell you about our most exclusive membership tier over at the Daily Wire, All Access. All Access members get to join All Access Live, our exclusive live stream discussions hosted every night by each of the hosts, including myself. This Thursday, August 20th, we'll be doing a very special live stream, like a watch party, a live stream for the Democrat National Convention's biggest speakers, hosted by none other than I, Matt Walsh. I've been spending all day talking about how boring and stupid the DNC is and how irrelevant it is. But I'm going to be hosting the watch party because I'm the guy you want, just so I can tell you the entire time how utterly pointless it is what we're doing. But that's really my thing, I guess. The stream starts at 8:45, so don't miss the big opportunity to tune in and watch the final night of the DNC with me. So I'm going to be watching this whole thing. Is that the idea? Oh my God. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. So head over to dailywire.com/Walsh right now to get 20% off All Access with coupon code ACCESS. That's dailywire.com/Walsh. Why did I agree to this? I don't know why I agreed. They asked me. They did ask me. I'll be fair. They did say, "Did you want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah." I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking. dailywire.com/Walsh with coupon code Walsh to get 20% off your membership. How long is it? Is it like 2 hours? 2 or 3 hours? Hey, you. You right there. Hit the subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It's somewhat appreciated.